Okay, welcome back, kiddos. Now we are moving on to perimeter and area. This is going to be 1.4. So I know this is from Unit 1, but we skipped this earlier so that it's going to be easier for us today. So let's see how we do. All right, so we talked about perimeter and area in previous years. Let's remind ourselves what perimeter is. You may remember perimeter is the length around an enclosed shape. Okay, so to find, all we do is we find the length and then just add them together. So we're going to say perimeter equals add all sides. Perimeter is add all the sides. All right, so then if the perimeter is the length around, then the area is the amount of space that is inside a shape. Okay, so we just use certain formulas on that. So perimeter, we just add all the sides. For area, we're going to use a certain formula. So for a triangle, you would use this one. Okay, for a triangle, you would say area is equal to 1/2 times base times height. But that's the same thing as base times height divided by 2. So actually, this is the one that I would recommend us using, and that's what we're going to use today. All right, and then for any quadrilateral, area is base times height. So quad means 4 sides. Any 4-sided shape, it's going to be that. Okay, so we're going to remember that B stands for the base, and H stands for the height. Okay, so those are the formulas that we're going to use. Say perimeter, we're going to add all the sides, and then for a triangle and quadrilateral. And then we're going to use the distance formula, right? So we're going to say for the distance between any 2 points, we're going to say is the x2 minus x1, right? Close it squared, plus y2 minus y1, close it squared, right? And the main thing we need to remember is that x comes first, then y, right? X comes first, then y. All right, so let's keep that in mind. So let's go and write you some practice. So this is what we're going to be doing on Delta Math. So let's follow the steps. It says these points form a triangle. They want us to plot the points, click graph triangle, and then find the perimeter. Okay, we're going to round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so let's go through the steps. So the first step is we're going to plot the points. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. First thing we're going to do is plot the points. So we're going to say Q is -1, 5. So -1, 5, and we're going to put a dot there using our mouse, all right? And we're going to write Q there so we know what it is, all right? R is -1, -4. -1, -4 is right there, right? We're going to put a dot right there, and we're going to say that's R. Okay, then S. S is 5, 2. So that's 5 to the right and then 2 up. Right, 5, 2, and we're going to say that's S. Okay, so then step number 2, so first step we're going to plot it, then we're going to click the graph triangle. We're going to click graph triangle. Okay, all right, so once we do that, it's going to go from Q to R to S, and then back to Q. All right, so then to find the perimeter, we need to calculate sides, side lengths. Okay, all right, and then step 4, we're going to add P equals add all sides. Okay, so let's find those sides, right? So we have 3 sides, right? So the first one, QR, let's check that out. So QR is equal to, let's check that out. This is actually one where we can just count. So let's count those, right? So we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? That's 9. Okay, so QR is 9. Right? But QS, if we tried to count that, we're going to get the wrong answer because it's not vertical or horizontal. Those are the only ones we can count. So this one we have to use our distance formula like we did last time, right? We've been practicing. So now that we do that, let's get practice and get better, right? So we said we're going to do QS. So let's write that down, QS, right? And then we also need to figure out RS, right? RS. Okay, so let's do those. So we've said the square root of, okay, we don't need that one, square root of, okay, and then we're going to find that value. So let's type that in. So we're going to say QS, so Q and S, so -1 minus 5. -1 minus 5, close it squared, plus, then the y value we're going to say is 5 minus 2. 5 minus 2, close it squared. Okay, so if we put that into our calculator, that's going to give us approximately 6.708. Okay, RS, let's do that one. So just like that. So R and S, so -1 minus 5, -1 minus 5, and then -4 minus 2, -4 minus 2. If we put that into our calculator, that's going to give us approximately for RS, let's see, that's going to be 8.485. Okay, so once we find that, let's go ahead and type that in. Okay, so now that I have that, now that we're on that was step number 3. So step number 4, we're going to add them all together. So the perimeter is going to be equal to 9 plus 6.708 plus 8.485. Right, and then the fifth thing is we round only at the end. Round only at the end. Okay, so that means that's going to be equals to 24.193. So if we want to the 10th, we're going to ask the 9 what to do. So that means bring down the 2 to 42. So it's going to be approximately 24.2 units. Okay. All right. So that's on the perimeter of a triangle. So given that, let's go ahead and do perimeter of this quadrilateral. Okay, so let's do the same thing. So we're going to say U is -6, -9, -6, -9. It's right over there. We're going to put a U there. All right, V, -1, -9. So -1, -9. Okay. W is 30, 30. And X is -20, -20. Okay, so we're just going to connect W and X. So U to V, W, X, and back. All right, so step number 1 is done, right? Step number 2, got to click it. Okay, step number 3, got to calculate those sides. So XW, let's calculate that. Let's take a look. We're going to say that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Because we can just count those, right? So that's 5. Well, if that's 5, this one's also 5, right? So XW is 5. UV is equal to 5. Now we need to find UX. And if we think about it, that's going to be the same as VW. So VW is going to be the same thing. But that one, we got to use our distance formula, right? So UX, so we're going to say U and X is going to be -6 minus -2, right? -6 minus -2, close it squared, plus, then on the y values, U and X, right? So -9 minus 0, close it squared. So if we put that into our calculator, right, that's going to give us approximately 9.849. Okay, well, that means Vx is also approximately 9.849. We don't have to put that into our calculator. We could, but it would get the same thing, right? So now let's do the perimeter. So the perimeter means step number 4, we're going to add them all together, right? So 4. Okay, so we're going to say 5 plus 5 plus 9.849 plus 9.849. Okay, that's going to be equal to 29.698. So step number 5, we need to round. That's going to be approximately 29.7. Okay, All right, now let's do the area of number 2. So we said the area of a parallelogram is going to be equal to, area of a parallelogram is equal to base times height, right? So that's going to be equal to 5 times 9.849. So that's going to be approximately 148.5 units. Square units. Okay, so that's it on the basics of finding the perimeter. We're just going to plot those, use the distance formula anytime it's a diagonal. When we can count it vertically, that's what we'll do. When we count it horizontally, that's what we'll do. But if we can't, then we have to use our distance formula. So once we do that, that's the hardest part, is finding the length, and then we're just going to add them all up. All right, so now let's get into a deeper one about the area of a triangle. Okay, so let's take a look. It says triangle JKL, with these vertices is drawn inside as you shown below. So let's go ahead and highlight that. Okay, that's the one we're talking about. What's the area of that? Okay, that's what we're trying to find, that area. That's difficult. So here's what we're going to think. What if we found the area of the whole thing and then just subtracted these? That would be left with what we need, right? So if we cut that out, so first step is area of the whole shape, the whole area. We'd say whole area is equal to base times height, right? So that's going to be equal to 4, right, times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 times 7, that's going to be equal to 28. Okay. Next, we need to find the area of each of these. Say if that's the first one, that's the second one, that's the third one. If I found the area of all 3 of those, and then I subtracted it from the full amount, it would give us what we need, right? So let's do that. So the number 1 one we said is, so area of number 1 we said is base times height divided by 2, right? Because it's triangle. So we're going to say that is, this much is 1. This is, we just said was 7, right? So we're going to say 1 times 7 divided by 2. If we put that in our calculator, it'll give us 3.5. Okay. Then we say the area of number 2. So that's going to be equal to, this is 3, right? Right over here, 1, 2, 3, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, and this is 5. Right? So we're going to say 3 times 5 divided by 2. If we put that in our calculator, it'll give us 7.5. All right, so then we'll find the area of the third one. Area of the third one is equal to the base times the height, right? So that's 2, and this is 4. So we're going to say 2 times 4 divided by 2. So that equals 4. All right, so now to find the area of the whole thing, we're going to say the inside area inscribed triangle is going to be equal to the whole thing, right? It's going to be equal to the whole minus number 1 minus number 2 minus number 3, right? So let's put it in our calculator. It's going to be equal to 28 minus 3.5 minus 7.5 minus 4, and that's going to be equal to 13 units squared. 13 square units. All right, so that's it. Okay, so on this practice, we're just going to recognize that to find the area of this triangle, we're going to find the area of the whole thing. Then we're going to cut out that, subtract that, subtract that, subtract that. What's left is that. right? And then on the perimeter, we're just going to add all the sides together. When we can't calculate that perimeter by just counting vertically or horizontally, we have to use our distance formula. All right, so let's practice together. If you have any questions, let's go.